Hi, and thanks for logging on to the daily DVAR halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Friday, 9th day of April, 27th day of Nisan. I'm going to veer off a little bit of halacha today because I just saw a Dvar Torah and a story that I am just in love with, and I wanted to tell it to you. I hope you won't mind. Here goes. In this week's Parsha, Nadav and Avihu die on the great auspicious day at the beginning of the service of the Mishkan, and we know that Aaron HaKohen, their father, has the tremendous reaction of Vayidom Aaron, and Aaron was silent. Absolutely amazing that he was able to remain silent in the face of this tremendous, tremendous difficulty. And I saw someone bring this story, which is just kind of an illustration of how this power, can work well for the Jewish people. I'm going to get right to the story and tell it to you. Here goes. This was a story of a Jew in Poland in the late 1930s who was very desperate for money, and he decided to leave his family for a long time, like for about a year, to come to America, the Golden Medina, to try to make some money for the family. It's a long story. I'm going to try and tell it kind of quickly. But before he leaves, he gets a blessing from his Rebbe, and the Rebbe tells him, just remember when you go to the Golden Medina, remember your closeness to Hashem, and remember that Gamzu Latova, everything that happens is for the good. That's the last thing his Rebbe told him before he went to America. Okay, he arrives in America, and again, I'm gonna, move through the story quickly. He's having trouble finding a job. He keeps saying Gam Zulatova, and finally, his talent was he was quite handy, and he knew how to build things. And he stumbles into a furniture store where someone needed him. And he says, I'm quite good with my hands and I can build things. And he gets involved with a small furniture store. Nice, lively operation, but small place. And there's one fella who runs it. He needs one more carpenter working with him. And Moishala gets a job with this, actually a non-Jewish fellow. But they get along, and he works for him, and he's making good money. And the fellow said, "Look, you're the only person here with me." He saw very quickly that he was very talented and bringing him good business. He says, all profits from this entire year we're going to split. And he's like, that is amazing. Gams Latova, this is for the good. And so every week he worked, and he said, at the end of the year, we will split the money. And so he didn't really need or want the money now. He wanted the whole lump sum to bring home to his family. So he got room and board with the fellow, and he came to work every day, and he worked the entire year. Late in the year, when he's, soon going to collect on his money, the fellow asks him to just sign some papers. And remember, he has not collected a penny yet. And he said, what are these papers? He says, well, it's the transaction where I'm going to get you the money, the half of the money of all the profit that we made this year. You just need a sign here. Moishala couldn't read any English. He trusted the fellow. Yeah, you see what's coming. He trusted him. He signed the papers. And he said, good, good. So next week, you'll come and you collect your money. Comes back next week, and the store is closed. The store is closed. Comes back the next day, locked up, nothing there, nothing doing. It's all closed. So he's beginning to get that terrible feeling that he's been swindled, because he has waited the whole year naively expecting the money at the end of the year. The guy got him to sign some papers. He runs to the bank where he knows the whole store did their business with, and he said, I'm leaving in a week. Can I have half of my money, the profit of all the everything? He said, but the account's been cleared out, Maishala. He said, the account's been cleared out. He said, yeah, you signed all the paperwork that you were handing over, your half of the business over to him. He cleared out the bank account, and he's gone. The store's closed. Wow. He nearly collapsed there right on the sidewalk, realizing he had been very badly swindled, and it was crazy of him to have trusted that person. And he tried to say Gamzu Latova, like the Rebbe said, and for the next few weeks he was devastated. He was going to come home at the end of the year with no money. So, he was in front of the store checking every day if it would open. And one day he met there outside the store one of the really good customers, and the customer said, "What's going on? Was the store closed?" And, he told him the whole story, and the fellow felt so bad. He said, "But you're such a good builder." And long story short, the guy helped him reopen the store. They got the landlord to agree because they had no tenant anyway. They restarted the store. That customer loved him. A couple other customers loved him. And he made tons of money. But the banker who was, helping him to get paid said, "It'll work much better for you to be able to transfer all the money and take it back to Poland if you become an American citizen. So please study every week, and maybe within the year you'll have your citizenship and all the money will transfer much more easily." And so he did that too. He made good money. He trusted the banker. This time he was not going to get swindled. And by the end of the year, he had tons of money, tons and tons of money, and he had his American citizenship. I'm hurrying up the story. He gets back to Poland. The year that he arrives in Poland happens to be Gamzu Latova, 1939. And Poland was collapsing when he arrived. He goes with his family where everybody else was going to quickly try to get, permission to leave the country to maybe go to anywhere safe. And they tell him, "Get to the back of the line." And he said, "But it's an emergency, the soldiers are coming, blah, blah, blah." They said that, "Well, the only people at the front of this line are people who have citizenship in other countries." He says, "Citizenship in other countries? I'm an American citizen." He shows them the paper. He gets his family to the front of the line. His paperwork goes quite smoothly. He gets his family safely out of Poland to America, all based on this story. Do you understand? All the tragedy that had happened to him, which looked bad, the Rebbe had told him, Gamzu Latova, it's all for the good. He believed it, he lived it, and it's what saved his family from the entire Holocaust. I got to this because of Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was silent, and Aaron said, "Everything is for the good. Hashem wants this to happen. I trust him." Look at this beautiful story. A Jew from Poland gets swindled out of everything, starts all over again, says this is for the good, and it ends up saving his entire life and his family as they safely arrive in America. Thanks for logging on. Hope you don't mind that I told the story instead of a halacha. Have a great Shabbos. Log on again after Shabbos for more. Bye-bye.